This video right here is going to show you how to start an Amazon book reselling business today, right from the comfort of your own home. By the end of this video right here, if you watch till the end, you'll understand how to actually start it, so what it entails, as well as be able to start and make money with this business immediately. So step one is to get Zen Arbitrage, okay? Now, Zen Arbitrage is the book flipping software that's basically going to spit us out book leads, so we don't really do any of the work. We'll let the software do the work for us, and then we'll simply go ahead and buy those books, right? So step one, get Zen Arbitrage. Now, there's a 14-day free trial linked for you. If you want to go down in the description, I believe it's the second or third link in the description. If you click that link, it will take you to this page where you can then click start your free trial, and boom, you can test the software out 14 days for free. Once you see how well it works for you and that you're finding profitable books, well, you'll probably most likely be inspired to go ahead and pay for it. Now, step two is to start utilizing the software to find books that you can buy on one website for a low price and then resell them back on Amazon for more. We're going to run through this entire tutorial. I'll show you how to use the software here in a second, but it's actually a lot easier than it looks once you first hop on. When you first hop on, there's like a bunch of data here. There's a bunch of levers and kind of, sliders, and it might be overwhelming, but I'm going to simplify it super easily for you so you understand how to use it, okay? Step three then, after this, so we're really going to focus this entire tutorial on step two, which is to actually use the software to find those book leads, so to speak, to buy, right? So the software is going to do all the work for us. The majority of this tutorial is going to focus on that because that's the toughest kind of step. But then step three will be to simply buy that book. Once you use the software to find a profitable book, you're going to buy that book and then ship it into Amazon FBA when it comes to you, okay? Now, this is you usually at least want to ship a few books in at once. So if you only buy one book, save it, wait for a couple of other ones listed as Amazon FBM, right? So merchant fulfill it until you have a few more books at least. I usually ship in at least 10 books, anywhere from like 10 to 50 books, because what that's going to do is it's going to cut your cost dramatically per book into FBA, okay? Now, I've done an entire video on how to actually ship stuff into FBA if you need that. I'll link that at the very bottom of the description. If you want to watch that video after this video or open it up right now, then save it to your watch later or keep that tab open as well if you need more insight. You can merchant fulfill all these, but I'd recommend shipping them to FBA. Then step four, rinse and repeat. It's really, really that simple. So let's go back to step two, which is actually use the software to find profitable books to actually buy from one website at a low price and then obviously resell back on Amazon for a profit, okay? Now, there's two main ways to make money with this software or eFlip, which is a very, very similar software. They both do the same thing, and I actually am planning on making an eFlip versus Zen Arbitrage video coming very, very soon, so it'll document which one I think is better, the benefits and the drawbacks of both, but this one right here is focused specifically on Zen Arbitrage, okay? Now, there's two main ways, like I did say, to make money flipping books with this software, okay? One is to buy used FBM books from merchant filling sellers on Amazon, then get them to your house and then ship them back into FBA so that you can sell them higher, because sometimes you can sell, not sometimes actually, quite often you can sell a book or any item or any product on through FBA at a higher price point, because one of the factors that goes into who gets the buy box is the availability to the customer and how fast that customer can receive the actual book, right? So Amazon gives you a bump, a huge, huge boost in your actual ranking on who can get the buy box if your items are in FBA compared to other FBM sellers, right? So often you can buy a used book from an FBM seller, ship it into FBA, and sell it at a higher price and make money that way. Okay, that's one way. I'm not going to get into that in this tutorial today. This tutorial today will just be buying new books from other websites that are not Amazon, and we'll use this software to find them and then ship them into Amazon FBA to resell for a profit, okay? One of the things that I love about this software right off the bat, and it has every single thing that you need to know, right? So you can basically mark it if you've seen it. Boom. So mark seen, mark bought if you've actually purchased it, and that will help you kind of track which ones you've seen before. So if you come back and you do this multiple times on like different days, you won't waste your time looking at books that you've already purchased or are already seen, right? Here's the little book finder tool. It's okay if you don't understand what any of these are yet. I'll run you through the whole tutorial here in a second, but that's where you can find this on this software right here. And then you can obviously click it and we'll take you to Book Finder as well, which is a kind of like a built-in software page that shows you different opportunities of where to buy that book outside of Amazon or sometimes Amazon as well. And then one of the things that I really, really like is before, especially with eFlip, I would teach you to go ahead and look at the book and kind of do your research on a potential book that might be a good buy ahead of time, and then see if you can actually sell it. Because one of the things that you want to do on Amazon, you want to go into your Seller Central and see if you're actually able to sell it. Because if you can't sell it, then obviously it doesn't matter how good the margin is. There's no reason to buy it because you're not able to actually sell it back on Amazon, right? So sometimes you would spend like 5 to 10 minutes going through a book and looking through all the different factors to see if it was a good book, only to find out that you're not able to sell it. So thus you just wasted 5 to 10 minutes. With Zen Arbitrage, you can click this little 3 dots right here and see check restriction. And what that's going to do is it's literally going to pop that book up in your Seller Central add a product to tell you right off the bat if you're able to sell it or not. So you're not wasting any time initially checking a book that you have no chance of even selling, right? So if I click that button right there, it's literally going to go 3 dots, check restriction. It's going to open up my Seller Central and tell me if I'm actually able to sell this Alchemist 25th Anniversary ISBN book, right? And then once I find that, okay, I am able to sell it in new condition, or if you're searching for used potentially, okay, I am able to sell this product in used condition, then it's potentially worth my time to actually go ahead and look at it, right? If I clicked one of these and it told me that I wasn't able to sell it, well, then I just mark it as seen so that I don't waste my time looking at that product in the future, right? Or because there's no point for me to check it, I can't sell it, okay? So now let's actually go through the tutorial. Now, one of the things that you'll notice here is you can actually click this thing, this little tab right here, and that's going to give you more kind of columns. I usually don't go the advanced view. I kind of just do the normal view, and that's going to basically tell you the indicators right here. It's going to kind of delete a few of these columns, so it's a little bit more streamlined and easier to manage, and there's not as much data there to confuse you. You can go advanced if you want, and all that's really going to show you is some other little columns like trade-ins and stuff like that, the publisher, but you don't really care about that stuff. The only thing that might be advantageous to is like some publishers right off the bat, are gated most of the times. So that might help you with that. Also the year, but I'm not too worried about that. Basically what the levers are going to do is they're going to kind of, specify which books the software is going to spit out. And these are the ways that you basically can kind of tell Zen Arbitrage what you're looking for. So it's going to shorten the amount of books that potentially are up here, because right now there's thousands and thousands and thousands search results. So you want to kind of really do it specific initially so that it's going to shoot you out potential leads that you can then search through to see if you can find a good book. Okay. And people always ask me too, whether I'm going through Zen Arbitrage or eFlip, if what are the best levers, what are the best settings to get the best types of books and the best potential book leads initially, so that they can basically replicate those. Okay, now you can kind of do what I'm going to do when I'm showing you here in a second, but ultimately the answer to that question is there is no best answer. Okay, you always want to kind of, once you get the hang of like what the levers mean, and the best way to do that is actually start doing it, right? Start pushing some of the levers, watch this tutorial, download Zen Arbitrage, get your free trial, and then start utilizing it and applying the filters and searching through a couple books. You'll learn really quickly what the levers mean by actually doing it. This tutorial will help you, and it will definitely outline everything for you, but ultimately you'll learn so much more by doing, okay? So the short answer is there's no one best, settings or any way to kind of set it up initially. I'll tell you some advantages on how you can basically set it up yourself to find good, responses. But ultimately, you kind of want to play around with it and give different settings in each lever every single time that you go through this software, because you want to get different looks of potential books that other people might not be seeing or that you haven't seen before, okay? First thing I'll set right here is the average rank. So because I'm showing you in a tutorial, I don't want to waste your time, and I want to give you different looks of books. So I'm going to go a little bit high here, like maybe 100,000 or lower to start with. Okay. Now, if I were starting just myself and actually sourcing this to make money right now, I would start really, really low, maybe like 10,000 or lower or 30,000 or lower, sort through all those books first, because they're obviously selling very, very quickly. And this right here is bestseller rank if you guys aren't sure. So this is BSR. Okay. Now, it's not necessarily relevant for us because we're going to be using Jungle Scout to tell us the product data, which is another thing that I recommend that you download. I'll drop a Jungle Scout affiliate link in the description as well if you want to go ahead and grab that. We're also going to be using this free Chrome plugin right here, which is AMZ Scout Calculator, which will tell us how much we can actually make on each book minus the FBA fees. You'll also potentially want to download this one. This is also a free plugin. It's online seller add-on. And sometimes, Keepa can be beneficial as well, which is also free as well. So you don't need to pay for Keepa, although there is a paid version of it. I just use the free one. And Keepa actually comes with eFlip. It comes with Zen Arbitrage, and it also comes with some other softwares that I already have downloaded. So I don't even pay for Keepa, okay? So I'm going to start this a little bit more broad, but usually I go specific and then slowly broaden out. So we'll start at like 100,000 or lower. We'll keep all this stuff, sort results, used price. You can change this to new if you want, doesn't really matter, or the Amazon price. You can also change this down to 250 if you want to go through it a little bit faster, but for me, again, doesn't really matter, okay? Now, used offers and new offers right here, all you're basically doing is, you're kind of filtering it down to the results that you're going to get, basically telling Zen Arbitrage that, hey, you only want this potential amount of competition on that listing, right? So let's go a little bit more specific. Usually, we'll go 11 new offers and maybe like 20 used offers, or like 25 used offers, okay? Something like that, right? Now, you can go more specific if you want, right? Like you can go like 3 new offers, or 5 used offers or something like that, right? Now, that might not spit you out very many books, but sometimes I like to go very, very specific and then slowly broaden it out, right? And then go like 12, and then go like 26 or something like that, right? So now we set this all right here. You can also click textbooks only, but I don't ever usually do that. Sometimes I source textbooks. The majority of them will be textbooks anyway, but I also find I don't discriminate against like textbooks or non-textbooks. I'm just trying to find good products, and I just look at books as like another product, right? So I don't care if it's a textbook. I don't care if it's a normal book. I don't care if it's a normal product that you're finding in a retail store. Obviously, you're not going to find those here in the Zen Arbitrage module or the Zen Arbitrage, software right here. But the whole thing I'm saying is like books are just another product to me. So I don't care if they're textbooks or not. So I never check this. Okay. It just so happens that the majority of these that it will spit you out will be textbooks, okay? So the used price, I'm going to go, what's the minimum price I want to set my used price at? What's the max? So I'm going to go a little bit so that at least we know that there's, something there. So let's go like 50 cents. And then the max used price will go like maybe like 36. And then Amazon's price, I'm going to set a little bit high. We'll go like 30, we'll go $40. And then the new price will go like 40, sure, 39. Why not? And then we're going to hit apply filters, and you'll see the software is going to do all the work for us, and it's going to return all the books that it finds on Amazon that fit these parameters, okay? Now, there's still going to be a decent amount here, and it does actually only look like there's not that many. So, and some of them you've seen that I've already seen before, right? So I could also make this a little bit more specific. I can make it a little bit more broad and see what else comes back for me. But for the sake of not wasting your time and kind of doing it multiple times here, because I plan on creating more tutorials in the future, so you'll see different potential looks of this as well. I'm just going to start sourcing through these, and I haven't set this up at all, so I have no idea what I'm going to find. I'll show you how I actually run through this myself, so how I use it, and then you can obviously replicate it yourself. So now that we've set the parameters and we've gotten our results, right, we need to remember how to actually sort through this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to go down the list right here. So on the right, I'm going to click the 3 dots and I'm going to check my restriction, because remember, if I'm restricted to sell it, then there's no point of me even wasting my time and trying to find it. So I can sell this one as new in new condition. So I'm going to mark it as seen, and I'm going to start actually doing some research on it. Now, remember, we're interested in looking to see if this sells on Amazon for a price that's high enough where we can buy it on a different website and make a profit, right? So we'll mark it as seen. We're going to click the ISBN, which is this right here, is going to take us to the Amazon link where this is actually, selling on Amazon, okay? And it's going to take us to the used page initially. So then we want to click the actual picture of the book to take us to the product detail page. So what is it selling for? Well, it's selling for $42.25, although you don't need to do this, but this is just kind of, I want you to kind of understand the steps in the process, and then you can shortcut them, okay? So once you are on the product detail page, you see it's selling for $42.25. But actually, if you go back to the software, it's already going to tell you right here that it's selling for $42.25. So that's an indicator if you want to go through it really fast and just kind of use these new prices right here. Although sometimes, not always, sometimes they are different than on the actual detail page, because the detail page can change slightly. So always check once you're about to buy it, okay? Makes sense, but I just want to kind of reiterate that. So now we're going to go to find the book finder, and we're going to just kind of hover over the BF to see the preview here and use our best judgment if we should look into this a little bit more. Can we buy it for the cheapest price on the left right there? I can't move my mouse or you won't see it, so I'm just going to click on it actually to show you here. But so it's hovering over this page right here is what we're seeing, right? So when I click on it, it's actually going to take us to the page. And so we're interested in this new column over here, the new books, right? Not the used books over here, just the new books for right now. So I can buy this on eBay right now for $22.22. So I need to use my best judgment on whether I think, okay, I can buy it for $22.22. Can I make a profit on it if I buy it from eBay for $22.22? I ship it into Amazon and I sell it for $42.25. Is there still a good profit margin to be made? And is it worth it for me spending $22 to ship it into Amazon and make maybe $5 to $10 after fees, right? So it's worth looking into here. Sometimes you'll see like one that's selling for like $40 on Amazon and one that you're going to buy for like 35 on eBay or something like that, or 35 on another book website. And then clearly it's probably not a great opportunity because there's not much margin there in, to begin with, let alone after the Amazon fees, right? So you'll get better at it and kind of gauging on what you want to actually go through and look for once you start doing this, but it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Now, another thing on the book finder right here that you're going to want to make sure of is you want to make sure that it's not an international edition, and you want to make sure that it's not an instructor edition, okay? You want the exact edition that's on the product detail page, and you can't sell instructor edition or international editions when clearly right here it's saying like the 8th edition, right? So you want to find this exact book in the 8th edition, and obviously Book Finder is pretty spot on about like 95% of the time, but every once in a while it'll be a different edition. It'll say like instructor or international, or it won't be the actual exact edition. It will be like the 7th edition on eBay. So just make sure that you're looking at those, in depth, right? So let's click this little price right here. It's going to take us to eBay and see if we can actually sell this and if it's a good opportunity, right? So the price is relatively the same. It's going to be $13.98 with $3.86 shipping. So that's even a little bit lower than right now. It is the 8th edition, and also make sure that it's not an ebook, which this doesn't look like it's an ebook, because it is obviously charging us shipping. And sometimes I like to look at the seller. The seller's really new, so that's a little bit sketchy, but hey, they still have decent a rating, and they still have 6 ratings. So just something that I like to check out here and there, right? So what I'll do usually, if it's not clear that, it's the international or instructor, is I'll literally click Control F on PC. I don't remember what it is on Mac. It's something like that, just to open up the search bar, and I'll literally type in like international and see if anything pops up on the page for international, right? Same thing for like instructor, right? And nothing pops up under instructor or international. So I know that in all the specs right here, they haven't put international or instructor edition in the spec somewhere and hidden it in there, so that I obviously, find that out later once it's delivered to me. But because they're advertising it as the 8th edition here, if it did show up to your house as international or instructor, you could always return it because they haven't described it properly in the actual listing, right? But that rarely happens. I'm just trying to, tutorial wise kind of teach you all the factors to look for. Obviously I would go through this super fast and do it in like a minute if I wasn't teaching it, okay? So now everything checks out. What are we going to actually pay for this, right? So about $14 will round up to be conservative, plus $4. That ends up being $18 to our door from eBay, right? So if we're paying $18, we're going to ship it into FBA and match the buy box price at $42.25. What is our profit margin here? So if we pull up the FBA calculator, and of course it's not going to work because I'm trying to show a tutorial right now. It's sometimes shoddy. So we're just going to pull up the FBA calculator that Amazon provides us, and we're going to literally put this ISBN in there, and it's going to tell us if we're profitable or not, right? So we're going to paste the ISBN into the FBA calculator here and find that actual book, which I believe is this one, 8th edition, yes. So our item price to us was, I believe, $18. To estimate it, to ship it into FBA, I'm going to say $1, even though usually it's more than $1. And there's no fees here, which is weird. So we'll see that in a second. But so with it usually costs a little bit under $1 because I ship a bunch of books in at once. But you can obviously estimate a little bit higher or a little bit lower depending on how many books or items you're planning on shipping into FBA at once. But I never ship like one-off books in. If I ship just this book into FBA, it would probably cost me like $4 or $5 depending on the FBA center that it told me to ship it into. Okay, so then we're going to sell it for $42.25. I think it was $42.25. And what is our potential profit margin? Oh, I did that backwards. Sorry. So it's been a while since I've actually used this Amazon one. So we'll go $42.25 up here in the item price. That was my mistake. $18, dollar shipping into FBA, and bam, we'll calculate it. So we are profitable. It is $9.65. Okay. So I'm spending $18 to make $9.65, and that's over a 50% margin. So that's pretty good, right? I'm going to spend $18. I'm going to get roughly $42.25, I'm going to get $27.65 back for a $9.65 profit margin. So pretty solid buy right there. Now we also want to make sure that sometimes it's important to look at the Keepa graph and just make sure that there's no fluctuations in price where it's like it's skyrocketed up, and that's not typically like that, or that it's like kind of dropped in price and usually it sells a lot more. Just some kind of indicators, but this looks like it's been pretty consistent since the beginning of March, been right around a $40 buy box new price. So we can pretty much assume that it's gonna roughly stay that way when we ship it in, and then obviously we can match the buy box and it will sell eventually. Now, how fast will it sell? Well, it's 88,000 in books, right? So if we click the junk, that's obviously we know it's selling very, very well because books move fast and it's under 100,000. But I always like to be sure and kind of get the numbers. So I'm gonna actually log in Jungle Scout because I forgot to, and it's gonna tell us the actual sales data for this product. So now we're logged into Jungle Scout, and we're actually gonna click the Jungle Scout because I don't like to play guessing games. I like to be sure. And it's basically telling us, okay, roughly 8 daily sales, 259 sales a month. Pretty solid buy right here. So I can buy this for 18 bucks on eBay, ship it into Amazon, and resell it for 42 bucks and end up making a rough $10 margin when it's all said and done. So that's a pretty good book. Not the best one in the world, but hey, it's profitable. That's pretty solid, right? So I'm going to mark that as not seen, actually, since that's a good one. Because I want to check that again. And obviously, I'm not going to buy it right now while I'm on the tutorial right here, but maybe I'll do it as soon as I'm done. So let's go through and check another one. I didn't expect the very first one to be profitable, but let's check another one. You never know, right? So check restrictions, the first thing I'm going to do, right? Because I want to make sure that it's worth my time, right? I don't waste my time and I can sell this as new, okay? So here we go. We're going to mark this as seen, and we're going to hover over the book finder and see, okay, is there a potential discrepancy in price where we can make money, right? New buy box price is $52.87. So if we hover over book finder, what does the left column say? $52.87 is the lowest that's selling, right? So there's no margin there, right? So that's not a good, potential margin there. Just to kind of show you, if we click the ISBN and we go to the product detail page here, once it loads, the new buy box price is $52.88, right? And if we go back to the book finder without hovering, it's going to tell us that obviously there's no margin and it's roughly selling for $52.87, right? So no margin to be made there. Let's check the next one, okay? First thing we do is, not open in all tabs. Didn't mean to do that. We want to check the restriction. And we can sell it in new condition. Boom, that's good. So we're going to mark this as seen. We know that it's selling on Amazon for $40.45. Hover over book finder, see if there's a margin there. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer when you don't actually click it because it's right built into the software. So while there is a potential margin there, after Amazon fees, because you see all the way on the left, although it's UK, so that's something you want to avoid, but let's just assume it wasn't. Even if it was the Amazon US, like it still wouldn't be profitable because you're spending $36.23 to get that book right there, and it's only selling for $40.45 on Amazon. So chances are, obviously, you'd lose money by doing that because after the Amazon fees, because they'd be more than like $4. This one right here is selling for $53.31. Let's hover over the book finder after we check the restriction here. And this is good. This is literally how I do it. So you guys are getting different looks. I can sell it of books that, might be good, might be bad, and etc. Right? So this is the one that we just marked as seen. It's selling for $53.31. Let's hover over book finder. And it's selling for 40 bucks on eBay, so that's potentially profitable, but just barely. I don't want to spend 40 bucks, even if this was profitable, right? It's selling for 53 bucks, and I'll pull it up to show you really fast, but let's say it's selling for 53.31. If we pull up the book finder right here, it's not going to be profitable, and even if it is profitable, I'm not going to spend 40 bucks or whatever it is right here on eBay to make like $1 or $2. It just doesn't make sense. Even though it's profitable, I just don't want to do that because then it's going to potentially tie up your cash flow that you can spend on a better product with a better margin, right? So it's selling for $53.31. Let's assume that we really could buy this on eBay for 39 bucks. If I pull up the FBA Scout calculator, of course it's going to work on this one, thank God. 53.31. And we're sourcing it for 39 bucks. It costs us $1 to ship it into FBA. It's going to show you that you're negative $1.41 profit, right? And even if this was like positive $2 or even like positive like $4 or $5, I still wouldn't want to spend 39 bucks to make, $2. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So let's find a better one because obviously there's so many better ones out there. This one's selling for $77.09, but can we actually sell it? Perfect example of one you can't sell, right? See, so it says not available. You're not able to actually list this. You're not approved to list this product, and we're not currently accepting applications. Bam, that's a good example. So let's mark it as seen so we don't waste our time. I've already looked at this one, so let's look at this one. This one's selling for $81.99. Let's check to see if we can sell it. Not available. Another example of ones that we can't sell. So that one we're not able to sell. Let's try to find another one that's a little bit higher right here. So 96. So check this one right here. So we're going to go down. 96, we'll mark this one as seen. We'll check the restriction. And we are able to sell this one. So it's selling for $96.95. The book finder, I meant to hover over that, but that's fine. All right, so eBay, this is probably a good example of a book, right? So eBay is selling for roughly 44 bucks. First thing we want to do is what, right? So we know that there's a potential margin. We'll figure it all out here in a second. But first thing we want to do is A, make sure that it's not an ebook. B, make sure that's the right edition. So it's the actual 7th edition, or 17th edition, excuse me. Or is that 7? I think that's 7th. And it's not an international or instructor edition, right? So if we go to the actual detail page of this book right here by clicking the ISBN number, and then we're going to click the book. And it is the paperback Introduction to Epidemiology, 7th edition, right? So that's exactly what we're seeing right here. 7th edition, Introduction to Epidemiology. I don't even know how to say that. Epidemiology. Sounds right. Paperback edition. So that's perfect, right? So it doesn't look like, obviously, it's not the instructor or the international, but just to be safe, I always like to check. So like instructor. Okay, no, it's not instructor. International. Okay, right there. International settings. But obviously that's not international edition, right? So that's a perfect example of something popping up for the searching, but that's not the international edition. That's the international settings. It is actually the 7th edition, as we can see right here in the picture. Now, the thumbnails aren't always accurate because sometimes, and this seller is obviously a good seller, so we can trust them, but sometimes, sketchy sellers will put the thumbnail of the actual book, but then down here, they'll say like international or instructor. But generally speaking, if it's a reliable seller right here on eBay especially, then you can take the thumbnail at face value, and often in the actual picture on the book, it'll say like instructor edition or international edition. So that's another little kind of hack to find that, right? So here's a good example of a book that you can potentially buy and make money off of, right? So 40 bucks, about $4 shipping. So we'll round it up and we'll say $44 to our door, right? So 44 bucks to our door. And if we actually go back to that, just to kind of show you right here, if we click Book Finder, there's other opportunities to buy it on Abe Books for 46, on Alibris for 51. So both of those might be profitable as well, but let's check this first one. So you can potentially buy this 3 times and make good money on it. But let's check the first one right here. It sells for $96.95. We're going to buy it to our door for $44. So we're going to put those numbers in, $96.95. It's going to cost us $1 to ship it into FBA. It costs us 44 bucks to our door. And this is a great opportunity to buy this book for 44 bucks and make $30.68 simply for buying it on eBay and shipping into Amazon and listing it, matching the buy box price and letting it sell, right? So does it sell well? That's the next thing. Keepograph looks like it's been pretty consistent since the beginning of April, which was 2 months ago. Even back in, at the beginning of March, it was still selling for 84 bucks. Now, what is the sales rank? So it's a little bit higher of a sales rank, but that's normal, especially pre-textbook season. This will skyrocket down, not skyrocket, it will drop dramatically, and the price should relatively stay the same, if not increase. So it's a good opportunity to buy this pre-textbook season. What is the actual sales data though? It's still selling 6 daily sales and 197 monthly sales, so it's still a good opportunity to buy this product. Now, you also could use the online seller add-on, and that's basically just going to tell you the competition on the listing if you wanted to see, how many used offers, how many new offers, who's actually selling those books. But you can also simply just click like the new or the used tabs and kind of look through them. So for example, if I wanted to click the new tabs right here, I can see like, okay, the lowest new offer right here is from a seller that has horrible rating right here and a just launched seller, but neither of these are FBA. So I could also just click like the little prime and new to see if I ship this into FBA, who am I actually competing against? And it's only Amazon here at $96.95. So this is a great opportunity to buy this book. I'm going to buy this book as soon as we're done here, but this is how you use the Zen Arbitrage software to market bought as well. This is how you use the Zen Arbitrage software to basically find book leads that are going to spit you out, let the software do the work for you, and then you simply buy them, you ship them into Amazon FBA, and you make the money and the markup and profit. This is exactly how you can start an Amazon book reselling business from the comfort of your own home today, just like this. So remember, there's a 14-day free trial linked in the description if you want that actual, you want to sign up for Zen Arbitrage. Literally, I just paid for the entire software just on those 2 book finds pretty much alone. You can do this very, very, very quickly. You can scale it up to a full-time income if you want. You can also kind of do it on the side a little bit like I do. I usually only do this when I have a little bit of spare time, but it's a great opportunity to find books to resell that are profitable. So I really hope that you guys like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. I genuinely appreciate appreciate it, and actually goes a long way to help the video. Believe it or not, even one like, right? Even if you're one person just liking the video, it goes a long way to help the video in actual search results and the YouTube algorithm. So I really, really appreciate it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of Zen Arbitrage as a software as a whole, whether you like it better than eFlip, if you have any experience, or if you're new to this all, what do you think about the software and any questions that you might have. Now, if you want to see some specific examples of books I've been able to flip myself, both with Zen Arbitrage and eFlip as well, check out the free case study in the description. It will show you examples of books I've flipped and made money on, as well as 5 other reselling strategies that you can use to make money flipping products, books, and other products online right from your home. And with that being said, guys, I will see you in the next one.